Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 11th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see the sun rising across the Pacific Ocean. If you take a close look, you can see the spin from this weak system that'll be moving into the Pacific Northwest here. Mainly just going to continue the onshore flow, maybe a couple showers across the higher terrain, some thunderstorms, maybe cascades east as it moves through. If you look out across some of northwest Montana there in Alberta, eastern BC, you can see the spin in the atmosphere that system went through yesterday brought some pretty good lightning strikes here across some of eastern Washington, some of northern Oregon there as well. Might have started a couple fires. Hopefully they're not too bad. But as this system moved through, it did bring a tornado near Cooley City yesterday, captured by Aaron Green. And I'll show you a little bit of a clip of that video here as well. You'll probably see that video on my other YouTube videos as well. Now, if we take a look across Canada, though, look at this plume of smoke. I mean, it's just engulfing the western portion of Canada here. Some fires, over 300 fires are burning completely out of control there. And yeah, this is not good news, folks. Already record number of amount of acres burned here across the state of Canada, and fire season is only halfway done, easily breaking the old record set back in 1989 here. So yeah, hopefully this doesn't continue on down into Washington, Oregon at some point during the summer here, but usually the smoke does get worse as we go through the summer months. And all you could see with all the smoke up there, all it would take is some kind of reverse of the wind here and, maybe some offshore flow, and we would really get flooded here across Pacific Northwest with huge amounts of smoke. Kind of depressing to think about a little bit here. And here's the interactive map. You can see all these little red dots on here. These are fires. A lot of these burning out of control here. A lot going on across Canada, but really the big problem here is Western Canada and BC just continues to burn out of control. They don't have the resources to really, put out these fires. There's just too many of them, and this is remote area out there, very difficult to get to for the firefighters themselves. Now back to the weather here, Pacific Northwest. This is a visitor center paradise, and you can kind of see that marine layer bouncing around there. A little bit of blue sky peeking out here with some of that pushing up against the terrain there. You can see our snow patch is gone there for paradise. This is for Spokane. A little bit of a change coming up here, more warm and sunny. Just a tiny bit of rain onto the north portion there as that system moves through, and you can see the warm up coming by the time we get towards the end of the week there. Friday, hot and sunny. Looking at some temperatures possibly up to the upper 90s coming up here at the end of the week. Seattle yesterday, 4 degrees below average here. 77 is the average high for this time of year, July 11th. No precipitation in sight right now. I was hoping to get a rain shower maybe out of this next system. We'll take a look at that here in a moment, though, but not looking too promising. Spokane, 97 the previous day here. They haven't updated the 10th just yet. No precipitation yet this month for Spokane. I don't know if they got any out of that thunderstorm that moved through there yesterday. There were some thunderstorms moving through there. One severe warned right on the border there, but I don't know if that actually got the airport. We'll check that out tomorrow. Let's just look at composite reflectivity, what the Doppler radar may look like over the next few days. You can see that system pulling away from the region here and up across some of the Rockies into Alberta. And as we go through, you could maybe a stray shower popping up North Cascades, nothing too crazy. As we go through Wednesday, this next system rolls through, but you can see it's just really weak. Maybe a shower of the Olympics, maybe the North Cascades, Central Cascades, maybe if you're really lucky, you might pop a shower off there as well. But some thunderstorm activity across BC up through the Rocky Mountains into Alberta. But you can see that system does not bring much precipitation, and really none at all for the Seattle Metro, Portland Metro, or Vancouver, BC. But maybe we'll get really lucky and get a rain shower out of it. We'll see how that goes. This is looking at the system yesterday that spawned that tornado across eastern Washington. There it goes, continuing its trek eastbound. Next system rolling in here. It kind of looks a little bit more daunting than it actually is. This is 500 millibars cyclonic relative vorticity. It's just kind of showing you the spin in the atmosphere at 18,000 feet. Moves over the area. We just don't have the instability we need to really get any shower activity west of the Cascades with that. But again, Cascades east could see a few thunderstorms from that system as it moves through. And then we're going to start to build a ridge as we move towards the end of this week here coming up. We'll show you that here in a moment. This is that thunderstorm. The tornado yesterday spawned just south of some of the stronger thunderstorms there, filmed by Aaron Green out there. And yeah, a legitimate landspout tornado in eastern Washington. Nice catch there. You could see the inner vortex tube of this tornado here for a while as well. So always interesting to see it. Pretty rare event here for Washington State. This is looking at the Cape here for today. So there's this system kind of bringing some instability with it as it moves off to the east. But you can see the next one that rolls in here, we do destabilize a bit across some of the Cascades, some of BC and Alberta here, but not much across western Washington, Oregon. So we're just probably not going to get much precipitation west of the Cascades. Maybe a shower over the Olympic Mountains associated with that next system rolling through here. But it is going to keep the onshore flow going for probably another couple days before we start to relax the gradient a bit and build a ridge. Now, taking one more look at the fire smoke here. This is kind of interesting here. You can kind of see the smoke up here across Western Canada, that low pressure system across the Hudson Bay there, wrapping some of that smoke back around down into the United States here. Not too bad for us here in the Pacific Northwest. Right now we're continuing the onshore flow, so we're not having to deal with this smoke just yet. And there's a good bet at some point during this summer that's probably going to end up reversing and coming back down over us at some point. And hopefully it waits a while and maybe we can start to squelch some of these fires up across Canada there. Now, taking a look here, this is the 500 millibar Heights. You can see the weak system moved through yesterday, spawned the tornado there, eastern Washington. There goes the next one rolling through that we talked about. Rapidly dies there. Then you can see this trough over the Gulf of Alaska retrograde a bit here, and we do build this ridge up as we go in towards this weekend. So we're going to warm up for at least a couple days this weekend. And then this trough's going to kind of try to come down and kick some more onshore flow, especially west of the Cascades coming up here. And that's going to cool us back down as we go through next week. So we'll take a look at those temperatures here in a moment. But you can see this huge ridge of high pressure dominating the southwest here, and the cat and mouse game between the ridge and the trough here, probably just keeping us in this onshore flow and not allowing us to get no major heat wave here for the Pacific Northwest coming up. Now, this is looking at the GFS. Let's see if it agrees with the European. There goes the initial system that brought the tornado to eastern Washington and some thunderstorm activity. The next system rolls through here, and then you got the trough digging back across the Gulf of Alaska. Pretty good agreement there. You can see the ridge build into British Columbia here. Strong ridge across southwest USA also. And then we got the cat and mouse game. How close is this trough going to get? The further it stays offshore here, the warmer we're going to be here all the way up into BC. But you can see the GFS, pretty good agreement. This trough is going to come settle somewhere nearby the Pacific Northwest and keep that onshore flow going. And we'll check out the details of this trough here, what it may bring weather-wise here across the region as we get a little bit closer to it. We're still looking at several days out right now, so we're going to go ahead and make sure to see exactly where this trough treks as it moves off to the east. This is looking at Seattle. Check it out. The red line is the average temperature here. So you can see the warm up coming as we go through this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Pretty nice warm days coming up here. You could even exceed those temperatures a little bit here. This is the European as of yesterday afternoon. Then we drop back down towards normal here as we get that onshore flow and that trough starts to approach, and then maybe a bounce back there. But we'll worry about that here as we go off into the extended. This is looking at precipitation chances here for Seattle. Not much showing up through the end of July. Maybe a tenth of an inch, but most of these ensemble runs have nothing here. A few of them do bring a little bit of light precipitation here as we go, but this is still almost a week out before much precipitation is showing up at all. This is looking at Pasco, Washington. Check out some of these temperatures here as you go through Saturday and Sunday, well up above 100 degrees there. And then you can see the cool down of that trough, potentially impacting even areas east of the Cascades here as well. This is Portland. Warm up here going. Looks like a couple days, maybe 3 days, 90 plus here for Portland. And then that cool down with the next trough. This is Seattle, and you can kind of see a little bit of precip showing up in the GFS through the extended forecast until later July, but don't hang your hat on that. That's, who knows what that is going to look like here in a couple days. But you can see Seattle actually warming up quite nicely here Saturday and Sunday, and the GFS has it even warmer up towards 90 degrees here before that next trough would bring the cool down. This is looking at the National Blend model. So here's today. You can see 73 for Seattle or so. You might exceed that by a degree or two. A little bit warmer as you go east of the Cascades. Pretty typical this time of year. Here's Tuesday, warming back up into the 80s for the Willamette Valley. Wednesday and Thursday, check out the warm-up coming Friday. Look at Saturday, mid-80s. Then you can see back into the 90s for the Willamette Valley. 100 plus for some portions east of the Cascades. The valleys start to warm up into BC here Sunday. And then Monday, we cool down a bit here as that trough starts to nudge its way into the Pacific Northwest coming up here. But we'll see how that goes over the next couple of days. Still have a little bit of time to watch that feature move in. This is looking at temperature probability outlook through July 20th here. This is average for this time of year. And you can see the impacts of that trough kind of bringing us down towards average here across northwest Washington, but still expecting some above average conditions here as you go off to the south and east. You get Portland 83, Medford, Boise, Pendleton, Spokane, and Helena, all expecting above average temperatures through the 6 to 10 day period. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation here, and you can see that big deficit here across some of the western portions extending up into Washington, and the 8 to 14 day as well, kind of that bullseye for below normal precipitation. But yeah, hopefully, these fires can really start to die down a bit here, but it doesn't look good. They've got new starts across a lot of south central BC. I know there was a couple fires going across Oregon, but nothing like what's going on across British Columbia right now. I mean, this plume of smoke is really dense. And, there's not many people living up there right now. So you hear about this story off and on, but you can imagine if there were major cities up here, this would be just a huge news story. And you can see it being brought down into the USA here around this low pressure system here at times. But really what right now across Washington, Oregon, and Southwest BC, not doing too bad as far as the exposure to this smoke. That won't always be the case this year, as this will probably make its appearance back down into the Pacific Northwest, and hopefully we don't start fires down here across on the USA side as well. So anyway, so hopefully it's a little bit of a downer message here with the smoke across Western Canada, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed here. But anyway, so click like, subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.